who would have thought that this time last year we had a similar chat? We knew we were on the cusp of the weird world that we've encountered over the last 12 months. Simo, can I ask you, what was 2020 like, and has it put you in good stead for 2021?
It's a distant memory really now, isn't it? Albeit there's still things we're dealing with. Look, it was a year of resilience, I suppose, and it's not dissimilar to the club's history that you have ups and downs, and we learn a lot about ourselves. Hub life was different. We lost 5 games for the season before the finals. Unfortunately, we didn't start the year well, and we lost that final at the end. So, missed opportunity maybe left a couple of wins on the shelf throughout that season, and the good thing is you get to go again.
Every footy club's the same, but do you think you're better prepared for those challenges? If things go wobbly at some stage, you can look back on last year and maybe it can enforce some resilience?
Oh, maybe, yeah. Look, I'm not digging too deep on it though, Goss. It's footy, and we did have some really good growth as well. So we thought some of our younger leaders really come through and stood up when it needed to. We had some fantastic victories throughout the season. We just didn't go all the way, so we get to reload again. Rejuvenate. We've had a really good block of pre-season and we can't wait to go.
Okay, I'll get some soft ones for you in a moment. Now, Luke...
Was that hard, was it?
That was a hard one, yeah.
Okay.
It's been a long pre-season. What about yourself? Old man injury, calf got you and you've had a few niggles and then how are you? Give our audience some sort of hope that you're right to go round one.
The calves are good, mate. The calves have never been stronger. So, had a little bit of a niggle with them over Christmas and worked hard to get them right. So... looking forward to the season. I think our injuries as a whole, we're actually in a pretty good spot. We got JK and TK back. Yoey's obviously the one that's a bit slow, but he'll be okay. He's working through it, and fingers crossed we have a bit of luck with the injuries.
We have the conversation every year, the pre-season, and my former members of the media that I used to work with, we always say you're bigger, you're stronger, you've worked harder in the gym, you've put on weight, you're all browner, you've never been fitter. Is that about sum up the West Coast Eagles for 2021?
Browner?
A few come back bigger. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know if it's always a good thing. No, we're okay. We've had a reasonable block. As Simo said, we started a little bit later than years gone by, so we came back in January, and obviously I spent a bit of time on the sidelines watching, and the boys trained really hard, cracked in. It was good to see. It was almost like there was a bit of a chip on the shoulder, but... talk's cheap, isn't it? So we're looking forward to next week and the season as a whole. So we're just over a week away before your first game, Adam. So how does the squad look? We just talked about JK and Tim being ready to go possibly by next week. I mean, have you got basically all your troops ready and you feel confident about what's ahead?
Look, you never get full availability, but I think that the depth of our squad, even with the kids we drafted this year, which you'll see in a moment, are really happy with our list and where it's at, and obviously it's really hard to get full strength side, and it's back to being a full-on marathon with a long season and the games and rotations. So we'll no doubt test our depth of our list, but I feel like there's more depth than ever, and the confidence is pretty high.
Speaking of depth, let's go to the midfield. A lot of young kids, and your midfield looks ready-made. Yeah, everyone says, it's the strength of the club, blue, blah, blue. But are there some kids that are knocking on the door that you, senior players, have to look over your shoulder because they want a spot?
Yeah, there are. There's a couple. I think we've drafted really well this year. Our 3 draftees have all spun the wheels through the midfield over pre-season and certainly haven't looked out of place. We've seen a couple of boys play a handful of games over the last few years. Xavier O'Neill, Braden Ainsworth. So there's some good young talent there, and whenever their time comes, they're going to be ready to take the club forward.
You talked about rotations, just touched on that. Less rotations and the statue on the mark. How much work have you done on that? And do you think coach's perspective, media in the room, what do you think?
You've got to stop sending me text messages trying to bend the rules too, Goss. Trying to tell
just always trying something new.
I don't tell you how to do your job.
I'm on board now, I'm committed. Can I just ask you, but how much work can you do with that?
It's dangerous because if you put all this work into it, into a strategy, you forget your system and... playing the game, trying to work around the rule changes. Not unfortunately, the way you look at it, there's a fair few rule changes each year and trying to adapt. And I think the first thing is our players adapt straight away. So within 2 weeks of playing, I think there was 3 or 4 50-metre penalties. So we'll adapt. Whether it changes the game or not, I can't see that happening. Strategies around it, maybe, but I don't think it's going to completely change the face of the game. It might add to a bit more ball movement, a bit more kick mark at stages of the game. So we'll wait and see. Unfortunately, you don't get to trial these things in pre-season games, and where you get to get a real sense of it. But we've had one look at it, and it didn't seem to change too much.
Last one quickly for you both. What was it like to play in front of a crowd last week?
It was fantastic, and it's the one thing I know Gibbsy spoke about. Not sign. I have signed a couple of autographs, Gibbsy, but the fact is, it's just been really hard to engage with our fans. It's something we've missed. It's part of our purpose. It's why we play. It's the love of the game. So to see people turn up, and hopefully we get full book this week or next week, because we've missed the fans more than anything, and we've got a really good home ground advantage. It's got nothing to do with the Oval, absolutely nothing. It's got to do with people in it. So the more we can get there, the better for us.
Been a big off-season, mate. You welcomed Georgia into the Shuey clan. How's Danielle going? How is fatherhood times 2 going? And have you got the balance right in regards to footy, home life, and being a dad of 2?
Yeah, that has been a bit of a challenge, the balance. A bit of a footy head, so I come home and I found myself thinking about footy, and I've had to try and stop that because there's 2 little rugrats running around now, and well, Georgia's not running, but it's good, mate. It's really enjoying it, and likewise when I come to the footy club, trying to park everything else and fully focus on footy. So yeah, getting that balance right. The wife's doing a great job. Thank you for asking, Goss. All good at home, mate.
Good stuff. That's the main thing, mate. For someone who's been married 3 times, make sure you look after them. Fantastic. Hey, well done. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us today, and good luck next week and for the whole season. Adam Simpson and
Thanks,
Luke
guys.
Shuey.
Have a good day.